Live from the apocalypse. We don't mosh, we boogie. This is State of the Game. If State of the Game was the group, the Far Side, I would be Fat Lip. I am the Fat Lip of this operation. My co-host joins me nearly every week when he's not globetrotting internationally. Is K Diggy, who is the Booty Brown of this operation. So shout out to you for doing that. I love it. So today we've got
Booty Brown.
We've got a black liberal with a glow like fluorescent minerals.
Salute.
The future.
Peace.
Lukah is here with the person that helped him. This is like what Sam Cassell did for Tyrese Maxey is what Walz did for Lukah. And I'm glad to have him here too. I'm not going to go too deep into quoting lyrics to introduce you, Lukah, because that is Cam from 808 from Crate 808. That's his deal. Crate 808. Cam had like 15 of your hottest bars lined up and did them one after another. Cam is the best, and I don't want to tread on him. So, but yes, thank you for being here. This is Raw Extractions is something I listen to a lot, and it's fascinating to me, and I wrote about it, Kay. One of the things I said that I think is really important in it, first point of interest, Lukah is antagonistic. And the more peer pressure industry standards put in the air, the more he will strike out against it. This album is 55 minutes and 47 seconds long. There aren't any hooks as far as I know. Song 11, Balaclava, is 6 minutes and 14 seconds. It's not the longest song on the album.
Yeah.
This is just not what you're supposed to do. Like, with executives telling you what you do with the album, right? So Kay, was this a unique listen for you? Because it so flies in the face of everything we've heard.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of, I think the note that I have is aggression.
Yes.
But not an aggressive, not like fake aggression, like real like aggression. Like I could sense it. Even from the gate, starting out with Oxygen and Flying Low, it was like a punch in the chest in a way. Musical punch in the chest. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. That makes sense. And that's intentional. That is
very intentional.
So the description of going from Don't Look in the Mirror, right? You start sorry. The title, I always mess up. God's in the Mirror. Don't look up God's in the Mirror. To this album, you've described it before as God's in the Mirror was coming into your powers, right? Like accepting that you have these powers. And
exactly.
That this album, Raw Extractions, is the development and dissection of the responsibilities around those powers. Is that fair?
Exactly. Yeah, and to put it in a simple form, it's about achieving flight. Once you find out you're a God and you have powers, I would ask myself what would be the first thing I would want to do, and my answer, and other people answered the same thing too. I got a lot of different answers, but a lot of people said they would want to take flight. A lot of people want to fly because they say it's impossible. So my whole thing was to make it possible through art. And so it was to connect what's going on in this quad, basically. So, all right, found out you're God. Let's go expand. Let's go explore and experiment what's going on in the beyond, so we can see. And if you listen to a lot of the sound bites on the project, They talk about science and atoms and stars being connected to the body. So my whole thing was I want to see what's going on up there and how it relates to down here, so we can better help the people.
Mm.
And it's Walz. I was worried about you, right? So it there was a real formula going, right, from chicken wire to when the black hand touches you, where
Right.
like the cold darkness of Lukah was balanced against the warm soul sample, right? And it was like a, I always refer to this as the Bad Moon Rising template, where it sounds like a fun song, but it's really about the end of the world.
Right.
And when that went away, and Lukah was like, "No, now it's going to be like a cold, dark-hearted beat with a cold, dark-hearted narrator. Like you're going to have all of that." I was like, "Oh wow!" But I got to interview Lukah before a lot of people I know, and from that first conversation, Lukah's always trusted his team implicitly. So he was very confident about the new direction before anyone else was.
Yeah.
And so how did that transition happen?
When I first sent him beats and we started kind of talking, I kind of was a shot in the dark because I didn't really do warm soul samples. I do now, and I still try to make them dark and stuff like that. But I kind of sent him just some hard beats, kind of just out of the blue, and he responded right away, like send me more. So I was like, oh, okay. So I just kept sending that kind of sound. And I didn't really know how the next project was going to kind of shape up until Lukah was like, no, it's going to sound like this. Like what you're sending me, it's going to sound like this.
Yeah.
And so that kind of built that sound.
Yep.
Had you heard anything? Oh, I'm sorry. Had you heard the previous projects prior to sending him? Okay.
Yeah.
And what were your thoughts, musically? What were your thoughts regarding those projects?
Well,
anything
I
stand out?
I think only Chicken Wire was out. Chicken Wire, I think, was the only one. I think we just started kind of talking a lot and getting on the phone all the time right as
Black Hand was dropping.
Yeah. So he had. Go ahead.
No. I was just gonna say, so Walz and I are more similar than people know. So even though Walz brought the kicks and snares, it's not that big of a. It is different because it's his style, but it all meshes together with those albums beat wise, because even those beats that were just warm soul samples, I chose them so they were dark. I know they're dark. You know what I'm saying? So and then when I heard Walz, the story behind Walz and the reason why he reached out to me is the fascinating part. Besides him being super talented with what he does, was he sent the beats to multiple people and they never did anything with them. You know what I'm saying? And that shocked me. So I was like, all right, I'll do it. So with all of them, you know what I'm saying? Send them through. So, you know what I mean? He was, how I like to paint Walz for what he has done for me was he brought in room for me to find different pockets. It's kind of hard to find pockets on loops because the loop is what it is. You can't go in and you can't, you know what I mean? You can't dissect it. You know what I'm saying? But with what Walz brings, and he allows Hollow. Him and Hollow are secret sauces to what Lukah does. You know what I'm saying? I mean, of course, with me and Cities of Eve and things of that nature, but it's just when you got kicks and snares and you got somebody that's on that same level as you as far as how dark the sound is. I mean, I'm from Memphis, for Christ's sake, so I like the dark sound. So it just allowed me to experiment a little bit more with deliveries, like Bodies in the Freezer. I haven't rapped fast and I don't know how long. But because of that beat that he provided, I was able to, you know what I'm saying, display my tongue twisting abilities. So Walz is Like he was already tuned in before even knowing he was tuned in. Does that make sense, y'all?
Mm.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think
Okay.
I think sometimes the kick and snare beats too, like people think they're actually like more open. They actually have more places for Lukah to rap and do more, like you're saying, versus sometimes those soul samples are filled with some of the most interesting ones have vocals in it. And it's kind of hard for people to find because the vocals are another instrument, right? The rapper's an instrument and the beat. So with a lot of my beats, they're kind of like they're open and there's a lot of space for Lukah to do whatever he wants.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
to give a little love to Walz, like I think if you listen to both of the albums that you have with Lukah, there's a signature sound, right? I don't know your catalog enough to know the rest of your work. You could have produced Christina Aguilera's best song. I have no idea. But your signature, because there's a lot of dark beats in the underground, and there's a lot of dark, moody boom bap, but some of it is thin, right?
Yeah.
There isn't much there, right? It's dark, but it's like a Halloween mask, you know,
Right.
like plastic, you know. Whereas your sound, I think of it like more like the Blade Runner remake, the Blade Runner 2045, where it's like it's cold and it's dark, but it's a deep world.
Yeah.
There's a depth to the sound where you are not bored, you're still digging through what it is.
Part of that is hollow too. I won't take all the credit. Part of that is always hollow. I mean, I send them stuff, and when I hear it back, I'm like, hollow just makes me sound so much better.
Yep.
It's a big team effort. The Lukah-verse that I'm creating. A lot of hands are in the pot. And we all play off each other's energy, and I think that's what makes what we do so special.
Yeah. No, it's interesting, and I was telling Kay, when we went to the Pusha T concert, we were riding. I was like, Lukah is one of my favorite strategists in the underground. Like,
Thank you.
not even we're not talking about like bars. We'll talk about bars. We'll talk about vocabulary words and pronunciation. We got all that on tap. But like in terms of strategy, sitting down with your team and knowing what you want to do, like I'm telling Kay, the first major, like when you broke big, the first major person you connected with was Boldy, which is perfect. Perfect. If Boldy's fans hear you, that's a win for everybody, right? And now with having an album on tap with Real Bad Man is perfect. That's a perfect mix for you. So the chess moves have been fantastic to watch.
You said why?
Watch. They've been fantastic.
Well, thank you. Yeah, man. I credit that to playing a lot of chess, man. Walz can attest to it. I always talk about chess moves. Hollow can attest to it. Cities, like everything I do has to be strategic. Everything I do, I want it to have a theme to it and a storyline because I don't want it to be like anything else. So, yeah, man, thank you for peeping that out and recognizing that.
That would have been such a good corny interviewer question if I had ended it with why. Like, you're really smart. Why? Totally, interviewers do that shit. It's hilarious. It's like not part of a real conversation.
Excuse me.
Yeah, I mean, because we were talking about in the car, and I mean, strategy is a lot. I mean, talent is one thing in the industry. I mean, you need talent to succeed, but there are a lot of talented rappers that don't experience success because they can't strategize their career out and they can't plan their moves out in a logical way.
Oh yeah, man. There's a lot of those type of cats in Memphis. Like there are some cats that want to do the I hate calling it a subgenre, but we're gonna say that for the listeners. The subgenre that I do, they want to do it, but because it's not hot and it's a longer process and a longer road to get to the actual bag of it, you know what I'm saying? They decide to veer off and do what's hot, and then try to come back, and then it's like you confuse the listeners almost with like, hey, okay, what is it? So when people ask me how I'm sorry, y'all. Let me get this right. When people ask me how I've accomplished so much, which I think is very little, but they see it as a lot. But I tell them, hey, I strategized everything. I found the correct pieces. A lot of people forget that to win the championship, you need a team. You know what I'm saying? It's very important to have a team. And I think I said this before. You got to find people that bring something else to the table that you don't have. Yes, I produce, but I don't think I'm as good as kicks and snares as Walz is. I don't think I can do what Walz does. I can do them, but I won't rap off my stuff first. If I got a whole pack of Walz and I got a pack of Lukah beats with kicks and snares, you best believe I'm gonna pick out their Walz pack first. You know what I'm saying? So it's all about surrounding yourself around and with the correct pieces to achieve, man. Like, if people sit down and really plot out everything, because that's what Walz and I do. When I have something in Google Docs, like, I'll send it to him and be like, yo, add something to this. If you see something's missing, add something to this. What do we need to get to the next step? Like, that's what I'm always talking about with him and Hollow and the rest of the team. Like, where do we go from here? Because I'm always hungry, and I know Walz is always hungry as well. And the hunger is very, very, very important. A lot of people lose that down here because of this subgenre. Again, it's slow. It's a slow process. You won't achieve and be able to quit your job immediately doing this type of rap I do. You know what I'm saying? So you got to be able to, you know what I'm saying, go fight those blows and keep going. So, yeah, man. I like to consider myself a coach for the team too, and their coaches as well, because they bring knowledge and wisdom to the plate that I might not have thought about. So,
yeah, one of the things we kept talking about on the drive was, like, let's see, you're at the lower middle of pop streaming artists, right? Let's say you're one of the two. You're making your money on streams, but you're not like gonna, you're down near the middle or the end. Like, you look below you and you're like, Rock Marciano might be more stable than I am.
Yeah.
Like, I'm making more money technically, but he's got a built-in like fan base that believes in him because of his moves. His network is his network. He built it himself. He is not beholden to a label or an A&R, right? Which I don't think A&Rs even exist anymore. But like, his team is his team. If the streams don't go well, he's still going to sell vinyl and merch and
exactly
else. So he's got the financial foundation that isn't going to kick him to the top, but he's always going to be comfortably working and well-to-do, and he's always going to be at a good level,
Yeah, he has that.
And I would say he has that control too, right? Like, he has control of his brand, and that's a big thing I know for all of us, especially Lukah, is the control. We want to control what we put out, what it sounds like. There's no one telling us what we can do. Exactly.
Yeah.
And we started asking this question last year, Kay, when I asked you, who would you rather be, Alchemist or 40, right?
Oh, yeah.
And I was, and I made my Alchemist case, and it was pretty compelling. So
yeah, we both agreed that Alchemist is
Alchemist an E40.
No, 40.
No, 40.
Drake. Yeah.
Who?
40, who produces for Drake.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Noah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Noah Shabib, I think. Is that?
Because both of them are brilliant producers, but 40 stands behind the man, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And like ALC Records, like, he can sell out of bucket hats and,
Yeah.
and do that. So it's different. It's a different way to
Mhm.
live. But yeah, and you're building the independent process really well.
Thank you.
So yeah, I think that's great. And what were your thoughts listening to this project, Kay? What did you?
Which one? The newest one?
Raw extractions. Raw extractions.
Raw extract. As I said, it was very aggressive. Not very aggressive. It was aggressive as in like the way I say when I say like punch in the chest, I think of like a football player. Like football players are about to go out in the field, and you know how they like punch each other in the chest to like hype themselves up, get themselves ready to go to battle. That's kind of like the metaphor that was going on in my mind, if that makes sense. But at the same time, like his, the lyrics and the delivery and the flow was so like driving and aggressive, but at the same time, like the music behind him was very I don't want to say melodic, but maybe that's the word. It was like very smooth. So the contrast between the two made it like a really interesting listening experience.
Ooh, I mean, there's threads going on this album. On one side, like this album is about building infrastructure within your community, right? Like Flight Club, blacks are compromised. The truth lies in their children's eyes. I feel their pain and I can hear their cries. Black minds have been demoralized, but soon will fly, right? It's about building within your community positive ways forward. But there's also a side to this album that is about recovering from trauma and like recovering from the instincts you used to survive. That one of the when you talk about aggressive, the first thing I think of is on Thoughts Made Divine, which I was lucky enough, I think Lukah sent me this and was like, what do you think about it? And I was like, it's really good. But instincts of an animal, catch my meal and eat through the skull. When ripping through the bone, I saw flaws. He wasn't a god at all. Can't respect a man, you're gonna off him. That's protocol.
Can't respect the manual. Can't respect the manual off from G. That's the protocol. Yeah.
Yep. But the like eating the skull and then like thinking about how whack this person is while you eat, it's like that is some shit that people don't think of,
Salute. That's one of Cities of B's favorite lines. That's why I'm laughing so hard.
That's
he loves
like
that
most. That is the most like 8-Ball and MJG coming out hard line of the album.
Thank you, man. Yeah, man. That's one of my favorite songs I've ever done, and one of my favorite beats that Walz has produced in our little catalog. And yeah, man, I don't know what I was thinking when I was writing that song, man. I just knew that I just wanted to achieve flight, and I was like, how can I do this? I was like, let me just hit them with the rawest words I could come up with the rawest forms, and I like to paint pictures when I rap. So like when I catch my meal and I eat through the skull, when I eat through the skull, I saw he had flaws. He wasn't a god at all. You can't respect the manual off from G. That's the protocol. When they were using ink, I was penning my shit in methanol. You know what I mean? So it was like when they took my hair follicles and saw that it was part of God. You know what I mean? Yep. When they tested my hair follicles, you know what I'm saying? So it's all about painting pictures and making sure the listeners can sit and actually lose themselves in the words and in the music. So like I like to write my music like movies almost, and I like to arrange the album like a movie. You know what I'm saying? So when I was writing Thoughts Made Divine, I was just like, all right, man, this got to be the most gruesome, but not gruesome in a violent way. just gruesome to let them know, like, yo, I'm really in tune with the beyond. I need y'all to know this. And this is why I am in tune with the beyond. So
when it came clear to me that you were going to enter the marketplace within that like fuck rap territory, so fuck rap is a like German like vinyl,
you say funk rap?
It's FXCKR fuck, it's fuck rap, but like
okay.
And they put out some very important albums, but they specialize in this kind of hardcore music. And yeah, and I've talked to some artists about it, because if the market is going to be European white kids enjoying Black trauma, that can be tough, right? But like when I saw you coming into that market, I said, "Oh, Lukah can dominate this market," like, because there's some people who are going to stand within that marketplace and they're going to be like, "I'm tough, let me show you," right? And Lukah's like, "I wish you people would stop messing with me so I didn't have to be tough. Like, I wish I didn't have to." You know?
Yo, Dan. That's all I'm gonna do. I'm gonna just point at you, man. You be on your shit, man. Yeah,
that's awesome. No, it's I love it, man. So it's just a different world. And Kay, the first song and last song on this, it is not song. It's audio clips from KRS-One talking, right? And that I kept thinking about that, right? KRS-One's reputation has not appreciated over time. It has depreciated. And there are a few reasons for that. But I met when I was working at 7-Eleven, and it was just because I was lazy. I came out of the Army. I didn't want to work that hard. I wanted to relax. So I was working at 7-Eleven. An engineer came. He had recorded RZA. He had recorded all kinds of people. And he looked at me and said, "I'll tell you who the wildest one is. KRS-One means everything he says." Everything he says. And I got to see him live. And he played a song he loved, and the crowd didn't respond, so he played it twice immediately after. And so I've never seen anybody do that before or after. Like, KRS-One's a very serious person. Mean place.
So, you mind me giving you a story on my history with KRS? I didn't appreciate or like KRS-One at first, because I got to see him live when I was younger, and I couldn't understand what I thought was cockiness and him being conceited. It wasn't that. It was literally his passion for the actual art form of it. I didn't start to understand that until I started really diving into hip hop when I was younger, because I used to see, when I saw him in Chicago with my uncle. My uncle took me to a Chicago hip hop show, and KRS-One was the headliner. And I was just like, man, I don't see it. Like he you know what I'm saying? People may say he's annoying and things like that. I was one of them. You know what I'm saying? And later on, I'll fast forward. Later on, like I dived into the Boogie Down Productions and all of that, and the Blueprint, and just listening to him speak. And I was like, oh, I get it now. He's just like how I am about this art form. He's just from a different time with it. You know what I'm saying? Because, and I started to appreciate him more. Now, I also started to take some of his pointers. Like, one of the pointers one of the things that he taught was, when you're on stage, man, it's dope to wear layers. Because when you come out of one layer, the crowd responds. They're like, oh, shit, he's coming out of his jacket. He's finna go ham. And so, like my whole thing, my thing on stage is, I like to fiddle with my hat. They know when I have my hat cocked to the right and not directly to the front and the back, oh, it's finna get a little thug in here. You know what I'm saying? Or when I put it to the front, you know what I'm saying? Oh, I'm finna really, you know what I'm saying, go in, I'm finna really kick some bars, I'm gonna really need you to listen to it. And so like, man, KRS-One is really the teacher of this shit. And people don't realize that. That's why, like, this whole album, I wasn't doing nothing but listening besides like Thelonious Monk, Stevie Wonder, and all those cats. I was only listening to 80s hip hop. So I was listening to KRS-One, Kool G Rap, Rakim, you know what I'm saying, Kool Moe Dee, all those cats, Public Enemy, a lot of those cats make appearances on the album. You know what I mean? And at the end of I'll Always Love Her, that's 3 6 Mafia from the late 80s, early 90s, talking about the New York scene and the LA scene not appreciating the South, basically, and Memphis finally getting on the map. So it all makes a full circle. And KRS-One was just literally breaking down hip hop like he does 24/7. That guy is the perfect example of hip hop. Like, when you think of hip hop, a lot of the kids, they think of like the new cats, which is dope. But I'm not old enough to be like, oh, KRS-One. You know what I'm saying? But when I think of hip hop, that's the face I picture because of what he stands for and his love for the actual game. I'm not gonna say that, but because people love it differently, but the way that man loves it, man, is kind of crazy.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I really appreciate them, and that dude can rap his ass off.
Sure.
So yeah,
I would say maybe it might be an age thing for us, because I mean I was the same way with KRS-One. Like, I going back when I start to really get into hip hop and learn the history, I would always try to be like, okay, who's my favorite MC's favorite MC? All right, let me keep going backwards. And KRS-One keeps coming up, and I'd always be like, man, I don't really hear it. But then I see him in all these hip hop documentaries, I hear all these interviews and the way he talks about it, and I was like, man, I don't know if I've ever loved anything as much as this man loves hip hop. I was like, I want to hear everything he has to say about it.
Yep.
And he's got an album this year that's pretty good.
Yeah.
I like that album.
He can still rap his ass off.
It's I Am Crew 12, right? I Am CRU 1-2. It's great. People should check it out. But
I told Rohan, I said, man, when I was writing this album, KRS-One was in the back of my head, and I told him, I was telling Rohan, I would love for KRS-One to be in one of his speeches in a college class and break down my lyrics in his voice. You know what I'm saying? Like that's a goal of mine, because I was just like, I've heard him break down other people's lyrics, and I was just like, yo, I want him to be able to break these down and really like dissect them. So KRS-One had a huge hand in this pot without them even knowing.
Walz, when I listen to this album and think about an 80s MC, I kind of stick on Kool Moe Dee. Kool Moe Dee was used vocabulary words I had never heard of in rap, right? That was one of the things. Did it very seriously, like kind of killed the party rap shit, like moved it to a different phase. And not only does Lukah use incredible vocab words throughout this, but the pronunciation of those words is like I've never heard them, right? Fitting them into the scheme and everything. It's really beautiful. And so that's, do you hear any, who do you hear 80s wise when you listen to this album besides KRS?
Walz or me? Walz.
Kool G Rap.
Kool G Rap.
You know what? When me and Lukah started like first kind of getting together, like the first thing we did was we bonded on like all the hip hop. It was like, oh, you like this? Oh, I like it. It was like that was really, so we had the same sound, the same interest. And it was like the more I listened to his music and the more I would go back and listen to all the artists that he was talking about, I was like, oh, I hear it. I would text him and be like, I hear exactly it. Now I get it. I get all of it.
Oh.
He just got Scarface recently.
Yeah, recently it's like, it's terrible to say. I feel guilty saying that. I'm 15 years deep into this, And one day I just texted him, I was like, I got it. I get exactly why you love him, and I hear it in your music now.
And I've been lucky. I've been lucky because I got to live in Texas during the Army, right? And so like I'd heard Scarface, like Ghetto Boys and stuff like that, right? But somebody put me in a room and just played I Feel You. Now I Feel You from the world. That song has got to be like 8 minutes or something ridiculous. And it's all story song. It's all crushingly personal. And I was like, oh shit. Like the special thing about Scarface, and I hear a lot of Scarface in Lukah, by the way, is Scarface is not just a genius in his craft, but he's hyper emotional, right? I can tell you Scarface's divorce album, right? I can tell you Scarface's Liberated from My Bad Deal album. You know what I mean? His emotions are at the forefront of everything he does.
Yeah. His emotional intelligence.
Yeah.
That's crazy you bringing that up because that soundbite that I snatched from Kool Moe Dee when he was talking about he chooses to not react emotionally but intellectually, because when you respond emotionally, that's what they want you to do. Basically, that's one of the sound bites. Yep. And he was actually saying that to Bushwick Bill. Bushwick Bill was on the stage as well, and Kool Moe Dee was just like, I understand. I know how it feels to not have no money. I know how it feels to grow up in those situations and things like that. But the reason why he doesn't do it like Bushwick Bill and the Ghetto Boys is because he thought his way was better. Well, me personally, I'm both. You know what I'm saying? So that's why, like, I sit right there in the middle because I'm super emotional about a lot of the stuff I talk about, but I also know that it could become a smoking screen when you're emotional. People won't really see what it really is because you're going through so many emotions with it. So sometimes it's best to just like really like sit down and probably hit them in a Kool Moe Dee way. You know what I'm saying? Mixed. So my job was when I was coming up, when I was writing, I was like, okay, how can I combine all of my favorite rappers and create my own style and then not be gimmicky and things of that nature? And like, I feel like, I mean, you all tell me, I feel like you can see that I sit in the middle of a Scarface and a Kool Moe Dee. You know what I'm saying? So,
how do you feel about that from your listen to the album, between emotionality and the pure intellect? How do you see where this fits?
You asked me?
Yeah.
See, I think there's a distinction between emotion and being like emotionally intelligent. So I think that you're fine-tuned to the, like I guess you have like you have a investment, an emotional investment in it. But at the same time, like, you said about you wanted this album to be about taking flight and then seeing things from like a macro type of level, like seeing things from the galaxy and looking down. I would say that's where the emotional intelligence comes in, because there's got to be a level of, detachment from what you're viewing, but at the same time, you're engaged with it as well, but you're detached from it enough where you can see the flaws and you can see like, okay, like you can recognize the destructive patterns in what you're observing.
Yeah.
So I would say like, it's more of, I wouldn't say you're emotional. I would say you're engaged, but you have like a high level of emotional intelligence.
Yeah, I feel that.
And Walz, I would say, like, so the thing about Kool Moe Dee is he existed at a point where, like, everybody's understanding of rap publicly was Hotel, Motel, Holiday Inn, right?
Right.
It was like, because Grandmaster Flash and the weird suits, right? Like, and the outfits, people thought it was a disco connected silly thing, right?
Mhm.
And Modi needed people to know that he was serious about this, and that this is a serious form of music, right?
Mhm.
And if Modi hadn't done it, we might not have gotten to the next place, right? Even with LL, against Modi, like it was LL vying for being as serious or more serious, right?
Mhm.
Culture. So I think Lukah walks into songs with the Modi prepare for class, motherfucker attitude. And then once that's established, we'll actually find like that Scarface pain level, right? That'll come. And he'll give you that in the middle. You got to be paying attention, right?
Oh, absolutely. I don't think I've ever looked at a dictionary more until I met Lukah. He'll like send me stuff and he'll be like, "What do you think?" I'm like, "Hang on, I need to like look up like 15 of the words so I understand, so I can sound intelligent too." So I'm like, "Oh no, I knew exactly what you were talking about."
Unbelievable. I love that so much. That's great.
I was talking to my boy Sonny Katz, man. You know what I'm saying? When we were younger, we would be coming from middle school. So my elementary school, my middle school, and the high school were literally almost connected. So in my neighborhood, you went to all three schools and we walked to all of them. But long story short, when we were younger in middle school and we were rapping, I would always tell him and my homie, he's locked up right now, I'm sorry, King in there. um, we would go back to our old elementary school because Sonny Katz, my cousin Sonny Katz' mother worked there, my auntie. So I would ask auntie, I'd be like, "Where your dictionaries at?" And I'm like, "Yo, both of y'all get dictionaries." Say, "Yo, we finna go in the cafeteria and we finna read these joints." You know what I'm saying? And this was when we were in sixth grade. This was sixth grade. And we every day for like, I know for me, sixth, seventh, eighth, I would go to the elementary school, grab the dictionaries, and I would sit there in the cafeteria and I would just go over words, just look at words. And besides, I was a big fan of Malcolm. And he said he read the entire
Copy the
dictionary.
dictionary, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I've never done that. I started, but I said this is insane. I'm not gonna be able to do this. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, you gotta really be militant to do that. You know what I'm saying? But
You want it. You gotta want it.
yeah, you gotta want it. So I told Sonny Katz because Sonny Katz came back in town not too long ago, and he heard the album sitting next to me for the first time, and I was like, "Cuz, this is what I was trying to get to when we were younger." And when I was telling you, "Yo, let's sit down and just look at the dictionary, fam," I always felt like the pen was more powerful than the gun. You know what I'm saying? So it was, and I was one of those cats that, you know what I mean. I walked that fence a few times, so it was just like the opposite fence. So it was just like, I'm like, man, if we can explore what's going on really up here and strengthen this, man, I feel like the possibilities, there will be no limit to what we can achieve. You know what I'm saying? I always used to tell my guys, man, because my family used to say, "Yo, the sky's not the limit." You know what I'm saying? Like, my teacher would be like, "The sky's the limit." I'd be like, "That's wrong, Miss Johnson. The sky is not the limit." You know what I mean? I was one of those cats in school.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know what I'm saying? So that him saying the dictionary, that just came to my mind because I was just talking to Sonny Katz about that when we was in sixth grade. We used to just sit there and read the dictionary like for hours until like the elementary school was out and until like the after school program was out. So we just being there just reading the dictionary.
What would you say your attraction to words is? Like, what is the appeal of words to you?
So I come from a line of educators. My great grandmother is a historic figure in the city. She was the commissioner of the Board of Education in Memphis. And my not my great grandfather, but my grandfather, her son, he's a wordsmith as well. Also a public leader. Um, they marched during the Dr. King days. one of my mentors, which is y'all want to hear some? I'm gonna keep answering your question, but y'all want to hear some crazy shit? Nas is about to drop a damn documentary based on the invaders that are from Memphis. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? That's like, it's like a chapter of the Black Panthers, but they were the ones who were protecting King. Now, to circle back to your question, one of my mentors started the damn invaders. And you know, this man did not tell me that he met my favorite rapper and was working with my favorite rapper on this entire documentary, man. I am so ticked off. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, you know, I was molded by people like Calvin. Calvin was one of the guys who started the Invaders. And when I would be around him, like he would use words and and Dr. Black, he used to teach us etymology class. I used to have to go to etymology class on the weekend. So my homies, they would be in the streets. And my mom's like, you know what I'm saying, when she found out about the etymology class, she would say I would have to go there on weekends. So I ended up having to do school 6 days a week sometimes. And that's how I came up. I was telling Rohan and someone else I interviewed with about the word charts I would create. So when I would hear a word, I would have to like find out what their word is and like just keep going, tracing the word back to its origin. And I started creating rhyming charts based off that. So when I would learn a new word, I would be like, okay, let me think of as many words as I can that can rhyme with this one word, and then I'm gonna put them all together in rap form. So it was kind of embedded in me, man. I was around it. And again, I was always taught that the pen is just as mighty or mightier than the actual bullet. You know what I'm saying? So even though I was coming up in those areas, I always wanted to strengthen this. And I felt like words were the key. Once I found out what the word nice really was, I was fucked up in the head. You know what I mean? So if you look it up, this is some homework if you all are interested in this shit. The word nice means ignorant. That's what it so when they would say nice guys finish last, it never registered to me until I started going to those etymology classes. You'll find out that the origin of the word nice comes from the lack of knowing, ignorance. I don't want to go into the whole spiel, but you all can look at it.
That's good shit.
So when I would once I found that out, instead of like being disrespectful like a lot of my peers would be to the teachers, I would be like, Ms. Johnson, you know you so nice. And she you know what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? The words are strong. She didn't really know what the fuck I was talking about. She thought I was complimenting her. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, man. So that's my love with words, man. I have the dictionary app on my phone that gives me the word of the day every day. So of course, a lot of the words I know. There are some I don't know, and if it's some that I don't know, I'll look at it. I'll, you know what I mean, learn it. If I want to use it, I'll use it. You know what I'm saying? So I just love learning.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, and the thing we talked about, Kay, is that like there's pressure out there in the music world to make things more and more digestible, right? Like to be as digestible as humanly possible. Lukah, the antagonistic nature of raw extractions, right? Only one song has any features, and it has 10 people talking. Like, that's hilarious. So, but like, it's too much, right? 9 minutes, 39 seconds, 10 people. It's too much. The whole album is too much. It's too much to take in. But the benefit of that, the anti-digestible thing, right? Is if it's really digestible, it's not a meal.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a meal. It's not a challenge, right? Mm-hmm. You know, a poem that you like that you understand on the first reading is not a good poem. You're not going to go back.
The first poem I read like that, I'm gonna let you keep talking, but was Billie Holiday's "Strange Fruit." And when I was younger, I was like in fifth grade in etymology class, maybe. And Dr. Black wanted all the kids to read the Strange Fruit poem, and I couldn't get it. I didn't understand it until, you know what I mean, I was told, and you know what I mean, things of that nature. So yeah, I'm feeling you on that part.
So there's like when you're able to say like I bring you the meal, right? Like I'm gonna bring you more than enough. That you're gonna sit with it and you're gonna dissect it and you're gonna learn more every time you hear it. That experience is a real gift, and it people that love Lukah know that, right? And so that's part of the special thing that you've built for yourself. Lots of fans, but fans that have a high expectation of what you're gonna do.
Yeah, which is dope. I like that. I like being able to feed people, man. And I want people to get full, but not right away. Like you said, like I want people to, when they go back to it, they hear something different and learn something different every time. I mean that nobody. I mean, Jordan didn't win all those championships going against easy teams. You know what I'm saying? He had to go against cats like Hardaway, Ewing, Peyton. You know what I mean? He had to go through some monsters to get those 6 rings, which is why he's more respected than like a LeBron, because around this time they said that the league is watered down a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Look who LeBron's facing. Everybody's teaming up. You know what I mean? Things of that nature. So yeah, man, that's always been my formula. Even before Chicken Wire, the stuff that's like unreleased. And that's just been me. Like I've always wanted to hide gems and bury them. Like on the 10-minute song, I said, what did I say? I said, walk the silver line and then found diamonds when we were mining. Ooh. You know what I'm saying? So like that's like what I like to do. That sums it up. It's like, yo, we gonna dig for these diamonds, and it may take us a minute to find them, but we gonna dig for them, and we gonna keep digging.
Also on that song, a line that I love is, "I show you how to MC. You should be seeking refinement." And it's not. It's just like, it's a very like, you know what, man? Like I take this seriously. You should take this seriously. Here's a book. You know, it's not even. It's not even that
manual.
You're not going hard. You just
the music's like good movies.
Yeah.
Every single time you watch it, you see a new scene. You see a new just dialogue that like you pick up every single time.
Were there any, because you mentioned this is like the second time that you both have mentioned movies. Were there any movies that kind of inspired you in terms of these two projects?
Well, I know Walz is he likes making horror films. He's fucked up in the head. He's a horror film cat. He likes making that horror shit coming right at you through the speakers type shit, which I love that shit too. But I'm gonna let him speak for him. But on my side, of course, is always gonna be Godfather, and you know what I mean. Like when he sent me Raw Nerves, I was just like, the beginning of it was so mafioso. I was just like, oh, this is easy. I know what I'm finna do with this. You know what I'm saying? So, Casino, Godfather, anything. I'm a real Martin Scorsese fan. Anything Spike Lee does, all the blaxploitation movies, like Minister Society, all those joints like that. Of course, all of those are always in my head because those are phenomenal movies, and you can always go back to those movies. So.
Oh, no, I'm the same way. I wouldn't say I watch as many horror movies. I like the soundtracks and I like the sound because you just get some of the best sounds from those horror movies. But I'm the same way. I think, again, me and Lukah bonded on that. Like, I love mob movies. I watch Scarface at least once a month. Like, I just love it. And every single time I pick something up on it, like, when we make our movie, when we make our music, it just feels mob-like. It has that just sinister feel. But it also feels like, you know, you got that suit on and you're walking in. People are scared when you walk through, but they respect you.
Yeah. I mean, he scored the movie, the Why Look Up, guys. He's the one who scored that. Right. And which is dope. And you know, that was based on a lot of Martin Scorsese, you know what I mean, it was inspired by a lot of those films. Shout out to the homie Josh, you know what I mean? That's my director, and that's how he and I bonded. We bonded off of movies. He was a Quentin Tarantino fan, just like me. Martin Scorsese, Spike Lee fan. So everything, like the quad, when the quad is finally finished, I created the quad based off how Martin Scorsese starts his movies off in the middle. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna go back to the beginning. I'm gonna tell the beginning of the story, and then you'll see how we led up to Raw Extraction.
That's awesome. Walz, watching Scarface once a month is like very. You're coming up on Benny the Butcher territory of Scarface. You're right there. It's gonna be.
It's just fun. When I make beats, it's the perfect set. I put it on in the background and it fits perfectly.
And it's weird because I was raised with gangster movies and gangster rap kind of at the same time. And the first actor that I ever really loved was Jimmy Cagney, because I wanted to go all the way back to like the first gangster movies. I was really interested in like kind of the etymology of it, right?
Yeah.
Gangster movies started as a way to warn the public, really warn the public about like people from other countries who were part of criminal organizations they weren't going to understand. And so those first Jimmy Cagney being so like alive and electric in scenes, like, man, are you even allowed to do that? Like,
Have you seen the original Scarface, Walz?
I don't know.
The black and white one?
Yeah, I think I have. I don't remember, but I think
somebody?
I have.
The original Scarface.
The original Scarface is insane for it to be black and white. You know what I mean?
I need to watch it.
Yeah,
it's
a dope joint.
Yeah, Howard Hawks directed that one, and Paul Mooney stars in it.
Yeah,
wow.
Paul Mooney is dope. And my favorite Paul Mooney, he was like a big deal in the 30s. It's like I was in a chain gang. I was a fugitive in a chain gang.
That's a movie?
I am a fugitive from a chain gang is the name of the movie. Google image this. Like you really should. Paul Mooney, I am a fugitive from a chain gang. It's wonderful. And it's about a dude who escapes from a chain gang, becomes a self-respecting member of society, and they find his ass.
1932. I'm gonna check this out.
Yeah, I gotta check that out too.
Yeah, I'm the same. Yeah, I'm not on that. My other affiliation, so I grew up in Rhode Island on the Hill. So I grew up around a lot of Italians, but I was Polish. And I would tell my mom when I was a kid, I'd be like, I just want to be in the mob. She's like, that's not anything you should want to be. I was like, no, I really want to be. And she's like, you're not Italian. I was like, well, maybe I can become Italian someday. I was like, I just was obsessed with it.
And I had a friend, we would just we were into the mob and we were just researching it like insanely. I was reading all the books. He was watching all the documentaries, and we would compare like mistakes they made. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I should have trusted so and so. Can't believe he offed his man. You know? Do you think Lucky Luciano was poisoned? You know? I have Lucky Luciano's autobiography on my bookshelf. I don't even think that's published anymore.
I tell you what, I stopped being friends with maybe two or three people because of their mindset watching the gangster movies together. Like they were huge Tony Montana fans when I was a Michael Corleone fan. And so I was and so I was like, oh, okay, I see I kind of see your movements and now like today, like You know what I mean? Some of them are locked up, some of them are gone. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you're like, how many O-Dogs do I need in my life? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Exactly. I mean, you need at least one because despite O-Dog being off the leash, he was super loyal. You know what I mean? So like, it's you all. That's why I was telling people about like a lot of people hate this new drill scene, like Pooh Shiesty and all these cats. I'm like, nah, I love these cats because these cats really exist, and you shouldn't try to put a muzzle on their reality because that's how those cats were actually living. Now, if you have a problem with it, just stop your kids from listening to it and you stop listening to it. You know what I'm saying? But I like that shit. I grew up around those types of people. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah. I mean, the first time I saw Menace, because I grew up watching Boys in the Hood. You know, I was in Maine. You know, and so I walked into the break room in the barracks in Texas, and they were watching, like, one or two people were watching Menace, and it was the scene with the store owner, right at the beginning, and they were laughing like it was a Robin Williams comedy special. They were just tears in their eyes, laughing so hard, and I was like, "What is going on?" Like,
yeah,
doesn't seem like a comedy. It's such a unique movie and has a unique place in society.
It not only there's a true message in all those movies too. You know what I mean? You just gotta choose to see it. Like nothing's funny about that because those things actually happen in those areas. You know what I'm saying? Man. Look, I'll veer off. So let's stay on point.
I'm with
Even though that movie is a different coast, I think movies like that, for me, maybe not growing up with that, like hearing Nas rap and then watching movies like that, paints those pictures really for me. Like I got to actually really see, like I can then when I go back and listen to the album, I can like really see what he's talking about, especially with like NWA and all of that.
Yeah, man.
And that might be like not Lukah's favorite MC is Nas, and we talked about this before. I will say Nas is the best MC in my best MC list that I am the most frustrated with all the time.
Oh, here we go. Lukah's
he's always there. You can't deny his talent, but he's always making decisions that rub me the wrong way. But Nas might be the lyricist who's most able to transport you of anybody.
But then, don't you think Nas has earned the right to make those crazy decisions that we disagree with?
Yeah, no, I view Nas as an elite agitator, and that he is like that. Me and him are kind of in an argument, like a 20-year. But like there's no hate. You know what I mean? It's just like he's a real smart cat. I just don't. Yeah, it's and he always proves me wrong, so it's great.
I'm gonna be honest. I used to be the person who'd always be like, "Oh, he's so great," but there's a few albums that have bad beats. I recently went to the Wu-Tang Nas show in San Diego, and I was like preparing for it. I was like, I'm gonna listen to every Nas album in chronological order. And so I listened to every single one, and honestly, I have to take back all the times I said that. I was like, oh, a lot of these albums I haven't heard in so long. There's some great beats on here, and I kind of like. I think Nostradamus might be the only one that's a little like is kind of a step.
Well, Nas said on his latest albums, he was like, "Yo, they don't come to me to hear my beats. They come to hear what I'm saying." You know who else? You know who else is like that, Dan? Who can elevate you lyrically? Besides Scarface, Scarface is one of those cats that can paint a picture and actually put you at the scene. But Black Thought.
Yep.
Oh, yes.
Yep.
Yeah. When we did our cheat codes episode, and we were lucky enough to have John Morrison from Philly and Zilla. Cheat codes blew me away lyrically just from what was going on it, and it's when you go back into the history, it's always really interesting. To get back to we were talking about gangster movies and the meaning of being gangster movies, and I gave you the Instincts of an Animal line, I want to balance this with the other side of the album, which is dead horses, right? They can't separate us, but we're our own.
Godfather.
Yep. Fuck chasing their paper. Let's build and become innovators, groundbreakers on our own shit. No more pulling capers. So when the power goes out, we'll have our own generators.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess what stuck with me the most was the last line. It's like Lukah's like not just saying like, let's be better, Black community. Lukah's like, let's get backup generators. Like this is like very grounded. There's like levels to it where your thought process is on the album.
Yeah, man. That's a huge thing in the community. Is like we'll be doing good, like something tragic will happen, then we'll all come together, and then that shit lasts for maybe 2 months, and we have no backup after that. You know what I'm saying? Like there's nothing. Let me not say it doesn't exist. People still are working towards something, but it's not at the forefront anymore. It's like something almost tragic has to happen every time for everybody to gather around and come to the forefront. But eventually, after that tragedy loses steam, you're left with like 10 people up there now. You know what I'm saying? So it loses the veracity, it loses the strength, it loses the power of it. So that's why I was just like, I mean, we go back to pulling capers after that. You know what I'm saying? I can't tell you when all those riots and shit were going on, man, and all the injustice things that were going on with Trayvon Martins and all these things that were going on, man. I saw so many of my gang homies, man, like that I know don't mess with each other. They were out there protesting. My uncle was leading the protest. He shut down the bridge, the Memphis bridge. So it's just like I saw us come together. I used to see it when we were younger, when we were like different sides of my neighborhood. We would be beefing in the neighborhood, but when we would go to like a spot, we'll be on the same team against the other people. So it's not impossible for us to come together. You know what I'm saying?
No.
So it's, yeah, man. So that line was just about like, man, look, let's stop pulling these capers. We know we can do that, man. Like we've excelled in that. We know we're about that. But we need to become groundbreakers. We need to create something, and we need to put something in place that's stable, that's going to create stability, protection, success, and that can generate more intelligence for the fucking community, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, what are we going to do? Let's put something in place for that. That's that backup generator. So once this tragedy, you know what I'm saying, that caused us to come together, once that loses its steam, because that's what's going to happen, and then another tragedy is going to happen. How about let's put something in place right now, so when the next tragedy happens, we are already at the forefront and we know what we need to do because we learned from prior tragedies, instead of just tragedy happens. All right, let's go back to the hood, pull the capers, man. You know what I mean? We stood together for a second. Let's go back. And then another tragedy happens. Now we have to start from the fucking ground up again. You know what I mean? It's just like constantly starting over continuously.
I think to put it into like weird work terms, right? Like if you go to work and your boss says, you know, we got a real situation that popped off, you know, we got to fix it, right? We got to really put our energy into this. So you're putting out fires, right? You're like, oh, wait, we got to put out this fire. The problem is you never get to build infrastructure. No one's writing the instructions for how to do this stuff. No one's sitting back tightening up things that aren't efficient, right?
Yeah.
Like everyone is putting out the fire, then putting out the next fire, then putting out the next fire. There's no infrastructure. So like that kind of, I think a little bit of what you're talking.
Yeah, man. And that's the important thing. Like it's all about, like with my job, you know what I'm saying? Like they create knowledge bases, so when the situation happens again, we know where to go to. You know what I'm saying? And that's how I think, and that's how I would like for my community to operate. Okay, we see this is this. Let's put this in place so we don't have to keep putting out that same fire. It don't make sense to keep putting out the same fires. Continues, we ain't going nowhere. You know what I'm saying? So that's what that line was about, man.
Walz, do you have any standout lines where you were really studying it?
Put me on the spot. I would have to think about it. I don't know. All of it.
The K, one of them that hit me that I just they think about as kind of a little bit of the heart of this album in a weird way is from Balaclava. He says, "Willing to clap them all, then talk about it with my therapist." It's that like there's more humor in Lukah than people realize.
Yeah. There's a humanity. That's what I'm saying, that it's emotional, but there's like a human element about it as well.
And that line is simple, man. That line is like, I mean, amongst the Black community, it's frowned upon to seek help and seek betterment. You know what I mean? Which never made any sense to me, even when I was younger and ignorant to therapists even existing. You know what I mean? Like, why not seek help for yourself? So I mean, it's I'll do some shit and I'll go talk about it. You know what I mean? To get it out of my system, because harboring it and keeping it inside, that's the dangerous thing. That's how trauma continues to be passed down through generations, because we don't deal with it. You know what I mean? We don't work it out. So I mean, Raw Derves is like, if you were to ask me my song, Raw Derves will be the one that sets the standard for the entire album and what it really entails. That would be the one for me.
I think sonically too.
Yeah, sonically, it definitely is set. And Lukah, what's the last line on that song?
Oh man, I just performed this joint last night. I said, starvation, we will reverse along with the dehydration, healing inflammation with raw skills, this medication, Raw Derves.
Healing information with raw skills, this medication. That it's, to me, that kind of says a lot of what you're saying, right? Which is like, this isn't about performing hardcore. This is about healing from the environment that made us hardcore. Like this is about building ourselves into the people we want to be. And so that's, but it's a painful process. The kinks got to get worked out.
Is Thoughts Made Divine the one where you talk about your death, your funeral?
No, that's Balaclava. That's the end of Balaclava.
Yeah, that's the one I remember when you sent me that. I was like, I don't really know what to say. This is like, this is some some shit.
Yeah, I always my mom, she was one of those people who would be like, celebrate me. You know what I'm saying? Celebrate me and what I've accomplished. Of course, your mother passing is gonna be hard for you to celebrate it, but I understand why she says it, and I put it in my music so my kids can hear it and my wife can hear it. So when it's my time to go, just know, you know what I'm saying? I've accomplished what I felt that I needed to accomplish, and I'm still doing that, and I'm working towards why I was actually put here, which is to cause change. And you know what I'm saying? So like, that song was real dear to me because of that message you're talking about. Was I wanted people to realize. I mean, I said it in Raw Derves too. I was like, what did I say? I said, celebrate the brave through airwaves. Yeah, I freed the enslaved. These hymns that I relate were passed down from prisoners, not slaves. You know what I'm saying? So I want people, when I'm gone, man, when they go back and listen to this, and when they find it, man, they see. It's crazy how you can watch Minister Society and say, damn, that's just going on right now. Right. You know what I'm saying? Right. Or you look at a Malcolm X speech and you're like, damn, that's going on right now. You know what I'm saying? So I want my music to align with like the Public Enemy shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? With the Nas shit. With because like I tell everybody, Nas is just rapping from the standpoint of a kid looking out his project window. You know what I'm saying? And kids and there are kids that are doing that right now as we're talking, looking at life go on through a project window. Mine wasn't a project window. Mine was the porch, and then I eventually have to jump off of it. You know what I mean? But so yeah, that's kind of how I want my music to be.
Yeah, and I would say my recommendation in terms of studying Lukah, we talked about the emotionality, we talked about the kind of vocabulary that's used, but an important part of this recipe, Kay. So on Flying Low, which is the first song, right? First after the Oxygen interlude, like Flying Low establishes I am the shit. I am this MC you need. You establish yourself as the omniscient narrator, right?
Mm-hmm.
I am the voice from above. Listen to me, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then once he establishes that voice, he gets to move the lens in places that you don't expect. He gets to go from you should get a new generator to you look at the bulging eyes of this lynching victim, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and make you see things that you wouldn't have seen otherwise. And establishing the omniscient narrator and then surprising your audience consistently is a really good thing to do. If you're working on anything in terms of writing. Yeah.
Yeah, man. And you said that about me. I listened to one of the interviews. I forgot what you said exactly. You was just like some rappers are like grounded, but Lukah comes down and he's like operating and moving the pieces around the way he wants
to.
Yeah. You influenced the Taking Flight as well with that line. I was just like, yo, he gets it. So you know what I'm saying? So it's just like, okay, yeah, let me keep pressing that issue. So, but yeah, man. So, Dan, you really be on your stuff, man. Sometimes I like some of the stuff I want to say, you already say it. So, yeah, man, I'm glad you peep it. I'm glad you get it. Like, I like to move the lens in different places because we're complex human beings, man. We have multiple feelings. We see things differently. So it's dope to be able to move the lens and keep a person's attention. I think that's a great power, but with that power comes great responsibility. So, and that's how I look at it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean that's a big part of what makes it special, and it was funny because I think I was one of the first people to sit down with you and really chop it up of the people I know, and so people will come up to me and be like, "Man, you were on with the Lukah shit," and I'm the one who sent the link to Nate from Dad Bod Rap Pod. And they've had you on multiple times, but like that's not a credit to me. Like they pressed play on you and knew what was going on. I didn't have to do a bunch of setup. You know what I mean? They knew what the deal was, and so I never had to hard sell anyone on Lukah. Like people that love rap, they knew what was going on, and that's where this has grown from. It's grown from a very organic place.
I would I like to add. I said Raw Nerves. The second one would be I'll Always Love Her.
Ooh,
which was the response to Common's I Used to Love
Her. Yep.
With all due respect to the GOAT, because he's one of the GOATs. I love Common. Common, he's up here on this little painting right here. Yeah. But I would like to know what you thought about that.
I'm working on a side show with Camo Bucket Hats on Twitter. He's real smart dude. And one of the things we talked about loving was rappers doing like not diss tracks, but philosophical counter arguments.
Mm-hmm.
And that song feels like a philosophical counter argument, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like Common is saying, oh, she used to be so perfect, and now she's dirty, and your song is like, I love the weird, dirty shit about
Yeah.
you. I love the good shit about you. I love all of it. You know,
Yeah.
this is for life. You know, and that's so I love that as a conversation. Cool. I got that. Yeah,
it's true love. You love for the flaws, right? You love.
Yeah, flaws and all.
Yep.
You know what
I mean, like, people have always been saying that hip hop lost its innocence and that kind of stuff like that, but
it never was innocent.
No. The reality is, hip hop was like George Carlin. You know, hip hop was telling you the ugly shit that you didn't want to hear. You know,
exactly.
Lenny Bruce, whatever. Hip hop was that angry stand-up comedian letting you know what the fuck was going on.
Yeah, it was the next thing after the Malcolm X's. Like once all the leaders were assassinated or some were on drugs, all of that, man. The only thing that we could find, I mean, the only thing that helped the uprising, like I said in the music, was hip hop. You know what I'm saying? Right. Like it was about bringing people together and enjoying each other. It was giving people something else to do. And the people that were doing that shit, the gangsters. You know what I'm saying? It was never innocent. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. The weird thing, there's always a young rapper who gets interviewed on some radio station and goes, I've never heard any of the people that you think are the GOATs, and I never will. Fuck them. Right? And everybody goes, oh my God, that's terrible. That kid's terrible. And I go, no, hip hop needs that kid. Like that kid's creating it from his fucking heart. He doesn't shit. He's not doing a Prodigy impression, you know?
Yeah.
So
although I agree with you, although I think it's very important to know where you come from so you can know where this is going and why it's in this direction, because regardless of what a lot of people think about today's hip hop, I mean, the shit was going on with NWA, fucking, you know what I mean? It's the same shit. I mean, like they talking about what's going on in the neighborhood. It's just a lot of it now. There's no more balance. That's it. That's the only difference. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But you do need cats like that. But it's also people like myself. And you know what? Take me out the equation. It's also about some of those older hip hop artists who get offended by those remarks. It's their job to pull that young cat aside, like somebody did me, and give him the game. You know what I'm saying? That's how you keep the village strong. You know what I mean? He's ignorant to this shit. You know what I mean? And not ignorant as in a dumb person, but he doesn't know. Nobody set him down and gave him the game. You know what I'm saying? And
hip hop is the sound of your kids flipping you the bird, right? You wore loose clothes, they wore tight clothes, like whatever.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
That energy is what helps it, because if a genre becomes too like lukewarm and nice, it loses the energy, right? It loses the energy. So
and if I had to sum it up for you real quick, raw extractions, I was telling somebody, I was like, people, this album, one of the reasons why I created this album is because I wanted people who would listen to it to realize that until we accept hip hop for what it is and what it's capable of doing, there won't be any change, because hip hop is the world. Like everything you do is based around hip hop. You know what I'm saying? In some form and fashion, hip hop is the voice of today. You know what I'm saying? So like, and until the higher masses, well, not the higher masses, the people who are in charge, which they do know that hip hop is the voice and it's what runs the world, which is why I judge they push a particular type of rap to keep a particular type of person in a certain type of mind state. That's just me. You know what I'm saying? Because there's no balance. But until we start realizing as a people that hip hop is going to continue to be the future, then we'll just continue to be stuck where we are.
Yeah, I mean, you could just. I almost feel like you could sum up what was going on in like 2 Public Enemy album titles, right? Like, it took a nation of millions to hold us back, right?
Yeah.
The fucking 80s. Boom. You're there. Why has hip hop been so maligned? Well, fear of a black planet. That's that, right? That tells a story. But yeah, I just think people should definitely study what's going on with you. And me and Kay talk about like artists that you buy stock in, right? That are going to appreciate drastically. And you are one of those people. Buy stock
Thank
in
you, man.
now because the team is there's no cracks in the team. The decisions are great. The videos are great, right? The art is great. Everything is mixed beautifully. Like there's just there's nothing wrong with what's going on here. And when the decisions are all made like that, that's the key for success, to move forward.
Thank you, man. Shout out to the entire team, man. The entire team, they're all geniuses in their own way, and they're all hungry, and they all support Lukah and want the best for Lukah, which makes me want the best for the entire team. You know what I mean? Like, so once the love is reciprocal like that, we can't do nothing but continue to go up. So you know what I'm saying? So shout out to all of y'all. Hollow, Cities, Ross, you know what I'm saying? Ish. I'm missing somebody. Walk, SB, Bohemian Lynch. There's a lot of producers on Raw Extraction too. Walz is the main producer.
Yeah.
But SB is on there. Bohemian Lynch is on there.
Me and Bohemian got one together.
Yep.
Diener
So,
has
shout out.
the
Diener,
best.
Stookie Bros. Shout out to all of those cats, man, because we're all one big happy family, man.
You talk about the mob movies. We it's almost like Lukah has built this like a family. You know what I mean? Like a mob family. We all have our roles. There's lieutenants, there's soldiers, and it's all about providing for the family.
That's amazing. I mean, yeah, that's one of the lessons from listening to Lukah, K, is like there's only so much in this world that you can control. So control the shit out of it.
Yep. Godfather. Right, hey. I'm telling you, man, dead horses, I called it because of the dead horse in the bed. And
I didn't get that till now. That's awesome.
Yeah. So like it's just like, and it was also like, oh shit, all right, here it is. We're beating another dead horse. I mean, talking about the same shit about creating generators and trying to excel the black community. We've been beating this dead horse for so long. Like, let's go ahead and cut this motherfucker's head off and put it in the bed. So, like, you know what I'm saying? So that's what Dead Horse is from. Godfather is literally how I like to maneuver my life, man. Like, I always tell my sons, like, never let anybody know, never let anybody outside the family know what you're thinking. They ain't number 3 and 8 years old. But I'm always telling them that. So, like, yeah, man.
No, I was really proud.
I like to think of myself as Tom Hagen of the group. My favorite character. That's always my favorite character.
Tom Hagen is a very important piece.
I was so proud of my son when I started going to parent-teacher conferences, and she was describing a kid that I didn't even know. Like, he's so sweet and so demure. I'm like, who the fuck is this? And he had created this whole work personality, right, for school. And he would come and be crazy here. I was like, that's exactly what the fuck you should
do. Yep.
Exactly what the fuck.
Yep.
It's your safe place to wild out and be with us. But yeah. Kay, do you have anything more before you?
No, man.
Oh, this has been good. Recommendation corner. I've been saving this one up. I found this one and it's wild. This is called The Art of Starting Over. And it's by Space Rock. Space RAWK, one word. And this is an album. The description says I wrote this album after being robbed and going homeless. I put my pain to music and made it through my hardship, and here today to tell a story. And it's very Oakland, and I was like, oh shit, Oakland R&B about homelessness. This is gonna be like if TQ didn't make it, you know. But no, it's like wilder than that. It's like Thundercat-ish, you know. There's guitars, there's layers of sounds happening. It's real wild, and it's name your own price on Bandcamp right now. It's real interesting. I love it. I think
send the link. Send the link to the email.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Yeah.
The other one, and I've started, Lukah, just like right off. Like if your shit is killing it on the first listen, I'm asking for the interview right away. Let's talk. You know, and I did that with Kip Stone. I listened to Kip Stone's Room 109, released on Closed Sessions. That shit is beautiful. I was like, let's go. So I'm hoping to book that. We'll see. But that project, it's like maybe my favorite EP of the year. Cleveland, out of Cleveland.
Okay.
Excellent.
Kip Stone has that verse on is it Def C's album?
Ooh, yeah.
That verse is so hard.
Dude, Kip
So
is
hard.
like this. Kip is like the closest comparison I would say is like maybe Boldy. Like he has his very strong, stable tone. But busting down, crazy bars. And this one is groovy. This one's real. It's real good. So, Walz, what are you listening to? Give me some recommendations.
Man, what am I listening to right now? I'm gonna have to look up the Kip Stone. I definitely played. What did I play this week? OG Kahuna and Gray Matter.
Ooh, Mutant Academy. Love them.
I'm a big Mutant Academy fan. Fan. I was playing that this week. I don't know. I'm always kind of keeping my ear down. I mean, I listen to a lot of re-listen to a lot of Prodigy albums, a lot of Boldy. New stuff. I don't know. Oh, Mike Schwab with Nicholas Craven.
Ooh. The one that they did together. Have you heard of Chung?
I don't know if I know Chung.
Chung, Chung. The album is produced by Craven and Mike Schwab, and it's super fucking dope. It's called like "I See You When I See You When I See You," and she's killing. I love her. So that one, you check that one out. That one's great.
There's another dude I've been listening to too. I'm blank on his name. I know his name's Benjamin. I can't remember his last name, but he's a French rapper.
Oh shit!
And I mean, I don't speak French. I don't understand a word of it, but man, it sounds hard.
I love that shit.
It just
I love
sounds
that about
dope.
rap. You don't
Man,
have to.
I've been playing so much of it. It's great to work to because like I can concentrate. I'm not getting distracted by lyrics. I can concentrate, but I'm in there acting like I know exactly what he's saying.
That's dope. Yeah, I mean, like I don't have to know Spanish to know Bad Bunny's dope. Like it's
right. Yeah.
That's really that's one of the cool things about hip hop. Yeah, that's why I have a friend in London who's like, how do you even understand what these are saying? It's very like slang of this area, and I'm like, man, hip hop is hip hop. Like,
yeah,
dope. Yep. I know, like that shit is not. You ain't keeping it from me. Yeah. So, Kay, what are you listening to?
I mean, I've been listening to a lot of like R&B lately. A lot of Nina Simone recent. So the album I Put a Spell on You has been on repeat. That's been
I got you in the car, Kay. The best one.
The Imelda. I'm gonna have to check out what's her full name. Imelda
May. The album is Love Tattoo from 2008, and there's a song called Meet You at the Moon that's just perfect. And like I was like going through these weird different genres and kind of explaining like bluegrass is like soul music and rockabilly's like funk, right? To the country world, you know. and I was playing like Wanda Jackson and Imelda May's rockabilly, but it's modern rockabilly. So that's why it has that swing to it, but it feels jazzy. Yeah, and I played the song and he brought it back.
Had to bring it back. Beautiful voice. Yeah, I'm big into listening to voices now.
Yep.
And we had a conversation about that. But yeah, I mean, Nina Simone has been on repeat this week for me. So
Nina's wow, man. So many different phases. Yeah. So
talk about emotion.
Yeah. And that's one of those, like, Nina's documentary on Netflix is one of the mandatory
so good
documentaries.
100%
about music at all. You need to watch that because that's mandatory. So, what do you listen to, Lukah? What do you bump?
All right, so I listen to a lot of R&B, jazz in my spare time. So I'm always listening. I'm always having Thelonious Monk on shuffle. The album that I've been listening to on repeat lately is the Fulfillingness first finale.
Ooh, Stevie. Stevie.
Yeah. My favorite album of all time, well, one of them, top 5, is Songs in the Key of Life. But I kind of think because that one is so crazy and strong that first finale gets overlooked, because that first finale album is so beautiful and it's crazy. But I've been on that, and I've been listening to a lot of the Memphis stuff, like Finesse 2 Times. He just came home. He's from Memphis, so I've been listening to him. I've been tuned into a lot of the like Memphis drill rap. Big 30. I'm a big fan of Big 30, Big Homie G. Pooh Shiesty is my favorite Memphis rapper. I played Walls on Pooh Shiesty. And he was like, "Why is this so good?" I'm like, "Yeah, So
my girl doesn't listen to our music; she listens to Pooh Shiesty. I'm like, okay,
yeah. So I kind of like, I don't know, man. It's something about Memphis, man. So I just been tuned into a lot of the Memphis artists. I mean, I've always been
Cities just
into
dropped.
Moneybagg Yo is
Moneybagg Yo is crazy. Who else down here? Cold Cash is dope. You got the underground cats like myself. Cities V just dropped a new album.
He just dropped,
that album's crazy. I don't know if y'all tuned into it yet. I got 5.
About Lukah like producing. You got what?
5 on there, maybe.
Cool.
So
there's some beautiful samples on that album. It's really something to behold.
Appreciate it, man. But yeah, man. A lot of I forgot. I've been bumping a lot of Ella Fitzgerald, and my mom's, when I was younger, she did this Broadway play called Ain't Misbehaving.
Yeah.
So I found it on my Apple Music. So I've been listening to that Broadway with
awesome.
what's her name? Natalie Carter, I think.
Oh, okay.
Now Carter or something like that, and just listening to that what is his name, y'all? The guy who plays the stride piano. He's like the creator of it. Fats Waller.
That's Waller.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So my mom's did that. She did that play in Memphis. It came to the theater of Memphis, and she was the star of the show. Like, she played the Nell Carter role, and my mom's was the star of it. So it's kind of like takes me back to when I was just seeing my mom's for the star that I think she is. You know what I'm saying, musically. And so I've been listening to that too a lot.
The story I want clarified, Wikipedia. I read Fats Waller's Wikipedia a while ago because that's who I am. And there was a story on there that, like, Al Capone's people kind of kidnapped Fats Waller and were like, "Play for me." And he did a private show for Capone and then got dropped back off. I was like, wow.
I believe it.
Fucking cool. That'd be a cool part of the Fats Waller movie.
Fats Waller. I mean, speaking of movies, Walls, when he was just down here, he put me on the Offer. Have y'all seen that?
Oh
The
yeah,
Making of Godfather.
No.
No.
must
Check
watch.
that out. Must watch The Offer. And it's
I
about
think
how
it's
the mob was actually, they actually had a hand in making the Godfather happen.
I
It
have
wasn't
the
going to happen.
Paramount
they were going to
Plus.
shut it down at first.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Paramount Plus. I have
Yep.
Yes,
I have
yes.
Paramount Plus. I've seen advertisements for this. Yes. Loaded
Watch it.
loaded cast. Yeah.
I think we watched
Yep.
the whole thing in like 2 days.
Yep. Hell yeah.
Lou Ferrigno is in this. Wow. Okay.
Watch it ASAP. And I don't know if y'all watch Snowfall. Watch Snowfall.
Oh no, I never got it.
Oh, you know what I meant to tell you, Luca? I just watched Godfather of Harlem. I just
Oh
watched all of it.
shit. All right.
Yeah.
And the new season comes out, I think, next month, 2 months from now. So
Isn't that based on that's based on Chester Himes, right? Chester Himes' book?
No. Godfather of Harlem is based on Bumpy Johnson.
yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm thinking of something else.
What are y'all watching? I know I've been watching I don't know if y'all have seen this movie, this show called The Watcher on Netflix.
I watched all it.
Yeah.
Have you seen it? You seen it, Kay?
I haven't seen it, but I've heard a lot about it.
Y'all need to watch this shit. We just watched the whole thing. It's 7 episodes. We just watched it. It's the craziest, most genius movie I've seen in a while. The plot is sickening, but it's so genius and so crazy.
But you know it's a true story, right?
Yep. Which even it makes it even more crazy.
Exactly.
Before I get into what I'm watching, I wanted to give Luca a nice story here because like so my son loves like power pop music, obviously he's fucking 9, right? He's listening to all this shit. So he'll find like a YouTube video and play me a song, and I'll be like, all right, let me play you a song, and I'll play him like an underground rap song. And like we'll go back and forth. And you know, good dad shit. And so he's playing me, you know, a very bouncy kind of, you know, whatever, Bieber kind of song. And then I pull up East End by Prue, Preauxx, and play that for him.
Pro.
Yeah, Pro. Did it used to be Pressure? Was it used to be or something?
Are you talking about my homie?
Yeah.
No, it's called Pro. His name is Pro. He's from New
Pro.
Orleans. They spelled it like that. They spell it like that. Yeah.
But yeah, no, Pro has an album called God is Beautiful. And East End, the video is beautiful. It's in like a skate place. And I showed him that. And he's like, can we play that in the car, Daddy? And it's like his favorite song now. So he loves, I put him on. He's got a favorite Memphis rapper. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, we just did a show together, and we were on this. We did one song. We did the Stagnant song, and then a child came up to him and was just like, "I loved your verse," and that's when I realized, damn, Lukah is not for the children like I thought. Oh man, but yeah, salute Pro. Everybody that's watching this should go tune in to the homie Pro as well, man. He's dope.
God is Beautiful is such a great, because it still has a lot of that Memphis darkness in it, but it's also Dayglow and neon and fun, and I have a lot of respect for that album. It moves up.
Yeah, man.
And I didn't just Sean Kantrowitz from The Questions was like, "This is what I'm bumping," and I was like, "Wow!" It just floored me when I listened to it. So shout out to
hell
them.
yeah, salute.
So. In terms of what I'm watching, I'm really intently watching a kind of terrible show called American Gigolo on Showtime.
Is it a comedy?
No, but it should be. So you remember American Gigolo with Richard Gere from like the 70s and shit. This is kind of a show that maybe is kind of based on it, but it stars the Punisher, which is hilarious because John Bernthal has like a pro boxer's face, right? Like his nose looks like it's been broken a few times, right? Like his ears look like someone's put him in a headlock. And so he's like the gigolo. And I'm like, okay. And it has the longest, most ridiculous title sequence where they play the entire Blondie Call Me song. And there's like 9 or more flashbacks an episode. It's really insane written. A lot of the plot lines don't make sense. And I'm just enjoying that. Insane.
How many seasons is it?
This is the first season. And
okay.
But Showtime doesn't cancel shit. Shameless went on for 50. Like they don't, so it might linger and hang out. But
all right, cool. I'm gonna check it out. When people tell me check out shows, I'm gonna check it out.
Yo, Wayne Brady is his pimp friend.
It is not a comedy.
His best friend, gigolo friend that he grew up with, is Wayne Brady. And the police officer who put him in jail is Rosie O'Donnell.
And you sure it's not a comedy?
It's not. It should be, but it's not. And it becomes it, but it's not. It's really insane. I'm not saying this is a good show, people, but I can't stop watching it. It's a show all about this man's hair and him just kind of swishing it about. It's so funny to me. There's a part of me that like loves going to bad movies and enjoying it, and so that part of me is really enjoying this show.
Oh yeah.
Me and my wife sit after it and just go, "What happened?" Like, so funny. So yeah, American Gigolo people, thank you everybody for the love. As the Patreon grows and all that, and tune in because we're working, man. Rohan has on the Discord for Rap Music Podcast. There's a lot of dope MCs on it, and we've been getting together kind of collectively and doing shit. And they let me kind of be the big body best of that shit. And just throw wild shit on there and say wild shit. And it's been fun. And they've been enjoying me. And I've been enjoying what they're doing. So shout out to all those guys.
Are y'all going to combine and create something?
Yeah. It's already working.
Hell yeah. What's it called? Do y'all have a name?
I don't think it's at that deep a stage, but it's fun. And it's been fun for me to get back into my creative place again and just start like outside of music reviews, you know, write pieces and record pieces and stretch myself and be scared of shit. Like, you know, send a voice note and be like, "Oh, I didn't fuck this up, guys. I've never done this," you know. So I'm very confident in what I do. But when you do some new shit, you never know. So that's a fun feeling. To be scared again is fun, you know.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I love it. And a lot of it
big body bass.
A lot of it is being handled by Slumber Logic, who's a real dope MC and producer, and has been kind of patching everything together. And I've been throwing him weird shit to sample, and it's been fun. It's been a lot of fun.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah,
it's a community fun thing. Feels a lot like being at the poetry reading and talking shit to people until they write a piece about it. You know. It feels a lot like that. So I enjoy that energy. But yeah, thank you all. Kay, hang out afterward after they say goodbye. I wanted to chat with you about next week. But thank you everybody. And
what do you use? Dan, you got a fro under there?
Oh, this?
I just saw that too.
Yeah.
My sister gave me this as a present.
Oh, okay, cool. I thought you
Is
had
that
a
the
fro under
Questlove
there.
one?
I don't know where she got it, but there is a Black Power thing on there.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I know Questlove used to have one that had the fist on it.
Because of my connection to hip hop, she gave that to me, and I keep it at my desk.
That's dope, man.
You know, yeah. So yeah, thank you everybody, and you know, keep us apprised of what's going on. It's amazing to watch the come up, and you know, the next level is going to be beautiful to watch. A Nas feature. That's where Lukah's heading. Tomorrow.